Okay, as promised, we will start in time. At least, if I have a look on my watch, it's 10 a.m. So, good morning, everybody, to the first session of our Digital Rutronik Forum. My name is Markus Balke. I'm acting as a Senior Marketing Manager for Analog and Sensors at Rutronik, and I'm your host today. Our first presenting partner today will be Bosch Sensortec. Bosch Sensortec is a technology leader in sensing solutions based on the MEMS technology. Technology leaders are always the best choice for a customer to discuss their future challenges, so that also Rutronik has a very close cooperation with Bosch when it comes to motion and environmental sensors for consumer as well as also for industrial applications. There is something new on Bosch side you as customers should definitely know about, and this will now be presented by Marc Schäfer and Florian Collet. During the sessions, all participants are muted to avoid background noise, but please feel free to ask your question via the question and answer function in WebEx. You can find this function by clicking on the three dots in the bottom menu line. And when you are asked, please select host and presenter as the addressee so that everybody from the organization team is aware about your question. We either will reply by answering directly to the question in written or verbally after the presentation itself. That's enough from my side for the initial words. Now, please enjoy the session. Marc, Florian, the stage is yours.
Hey, thank you, Markus. Thank you for the introduction and welcome to all the attendees. It's quite high number of participants. That's great. Um, as this would have been a normal trade show with live interactions, we have also added some video material of the demos that you at least can see them. So this is going to be part of the presentation later. Topic today is our longevity program. What is hidden behind this, we will show you later in a few slides. Bottom line, we want to achieve or still achieve the high quality, high performance, and the prolonged availability behind this longevity program, and of course some products behind. Let me show you a short agenda to see what you can await from the next 45 minutes roundabout. I'll have a very short introduction to Bosch Sensortec and how this belongs to the big Bosch group. I will introduce the longevity program, what is behind, and of course we will take a look at a deeper dive at 3 products that are currently behind this longevity program, and also there is more to come in the future. As said, as we are not able to talk live as on a trade show face to face, we've added some video material in this presentation to show you our latest demos. And also here, I'm happy to announce that you will see videos today that no one else has seen before. They have just been finished yesterday night, actually. So it's a kind of premiere, and also a big thanks from my side to our marketing department that this was made doable. In the end, we will have a question and answer section. And as Marco said, please feel free to type your questions in the chat box. If you do not want to have this discussed broad here, then also feel free to contact us via Rutronik, and we will get back to you as soon as possible after this presentation. Let's take a look at Bosch Sensortec. As Markus already mentioned, Bosch is a big player when it comes to MEMS business in total. The Bosch Group is by far the biggest MEMS supplier, the global biggest MEMS supplier. Bosch Sensortec was founded in the year of 2005. The history with Bosch and MEMS started already in 1995. This is mainly due to automotive sensors here in the past. Bosch Sensortec was founded in 2005, as said, because someone saw the need of using an acceleration sensor to determine if the screen of a mobile phone is in landscape or in portrait mode, so it has this tilt function. And that's how it all started. So Bosch Sensortec is purely focusing so far on the consumer market, and now we're paying more and more attention to the industrial market, especially in EMEA. And especially for this reason, we have introduced the longevity program, which is part of the presentation today. As said, there's a huge history, there's a huge knowledge base when it comes to designing MEMS and to producing MEMS. And if you look at the total numbers, there's far more than 10 billion MEMS sensors that have been produced, branded Bosch. If you look at Sensortec and only the year of 2019, we shipped about 1.3 billion only in the year of 2019 to the market, and only as Bosch Sensortec. So we have a proven track record that we can ship very high quality and very high volumes to the market out there. To finish off with the overview, let me give you a short insight on what products we cover in general. Just let me use my pointer here just a second. So as mentioned, it's all started off in the year of 2005 with an acceleration sensor you can see in the lower left corner. And then over time, we've added the level of integration. So you see this rising here. So basically, we've added more degrees of freedom. This is all 3 degrees of freedom products, an axle, a gyro, and a magnetometer. Looking at IMUs, you basically add another 3 degrees of freedom by combining an axle and a gyroscope. And the absolute orientation sensor would combine all 3 of named here below, axle, gyro, and magnetometer. The environmental sensor pillar over here, we start with the barometric pressure sensor. Very, very important parts for Bosch Sensortec as well. About 30% market share we have here. Humidity sensors as a combination of pressure, humidity, and temperature, and our so-called gas sensor combining then also all of below plus VOC sensing. Smart sensing is a pretty similar pillar than the one that you see below motion sensing, but here we add a microcontroller to the device. That is basically what we call them the smart sensors or the sensor hubs to enable customers to directly play with the output of these products. And last but not least, the so-called optical systems. Of course, software is becoming more and more important to enable people to play with our products and to work with them especially. Today's presentation, we will look at one accelerometer, we will look at one IMU and one pressure sensor that all belong to the longevity program. It's time for the first video, and I would like to introduce Sean to you. Sean is one of our very famous Bosch colleagues. If we start the video, you will be able to adjust the volume in the window of your media player. In this video, we will not do any talks, but in the later videos, we will also have some live comments, so simply feel free to adjust the volume of the video yourself when convenient.
Let's produce like a boss, easy use like a boss, connect machines like a boss, perfect team like a boss, flexible line like a boss, to make it mine like a boss, no downtime like a boss, that's worth the rhyme.
Excuse me, did you say no downtime? That's not true, we have scheduled downtime.
Like a boss, control detect like a boss, phone check like a boss, go 5G like a boss, IoT. So efficient, that's a mission. Never stressed like a boss. AR test like a boss. Data cloud like a boss. Makes me proud. Together we like a save energy like a boss. IoT. Manufactured like a Bosch, with many innovations for the factory of the future. From Bosch.
Okay, so you all met Sean now. This video is showing quite some nice applications which we are targeting with these products, namely robotics, autonomous kind of vehicles, and anything that has to do with motion sensing or motion detecting. Let's talk about the longevity program in detail. And what is behind this. Bottom line and very short, when we talk about longevity, we take our most high-performing parts of one of the product areas that we have and make them available for 10 years after start of production. As you know, Bosch Sensortec has a very strong history when it comes to the consumer market. And in order to be addressing the industrial market more aggressive, we've decided to launch this longevity initiative to give customers the ability and the long sight to have these products available for a long period of time. We all know that in the industrial market, it can take several years for a design, plus a few months of qualification, or even years per qualification. And then, of course, after that, you still want to have your product in production for a few years. That's why we decided to come out with this longevity initiative to cover a 10 years availability of the product. Basically, 3 benefits for our customers. They're already named, but it's the high degree of reliability that you have here, because you know from the very beginning that this part will be available for a long time. From the very beginning of your design of the product idea. We only choose, as mentioned, the most performing parts as part of this program. So you can be sure that you have the best choice of this product in your design. And we've decreased the MOQ, the real size for these products, because namely those were 5 or even 10K pieces. And with the longevity initiative, we've reduced the real size to only 2,500 pieces. It's time to take a look at the first product, an IMU, and I will hand the word over to Florian to walk you through this part of the presentation.
Thank you. So the first product from the 3 we'll be presenting today is an IMU, and the part number you can see on your screen is the BMI 090L. So maybe just on this slide, you can see from the part number that there is this capital L at the end, and you will see this letter at the end of the different product, and this is what we will use to easily differentiate the longevity part numbers from the other part numbers in our portfolio. So this is the first part number, and as Mark introduced a bit earlier, an IMU is a combination of an accelerometer and a gyroscope in one package. So targeting the longevity program, this IMU is part of our high-end high-performance IMUs. It is meant to answer the demands of harsh industrial or harsh environments in general. In particular, there is a very unique feature that is vibration robustness, and especially in the accelerometer signal that is achieved by a unique design to this specific accelerometer in the market. So this is technically a low-pass filter of the accelerometer signal. But on top of that, we also offer excellent immunity against temperature fluctuation. This means stability against temperature changes. In a theoretical perfect world, all sensors would behave on the paper the same way in the real world, the same way they are predicted on the paper, but in reality, effects like temperature changes will impact the performance of the device. And here we are confident that we have excellent behavior and predictability against these. Also, the bias stability, which is the stability over time, is very good for this product. Also, as part of the longevity program, we wanted to include some interrupt features in all our products, and in this case we have decided to pick some interrupt features that were very popular from our experience so far in the market, and we hope that this will address most of the needs, like any motion detection and triggering an interrupt to wake up a system based on motion or no motion, or based on a certain threshold, for example. I will not spend a very long time on this slide, but we would like to announce that these parts that we will present today, including this one, are already on our official website now. So you can, starting today, already look for this part number on our website. You can find the technical data and specification. You can find the data sheet. So this product is already available and documented on our website. So including this stability or TCO or specification we mentioned, you can already find the major specifications on our website. Also good to know, and that's why we see that there are some footprints and package dimensions mentioned in our slides today. One of our goals, another goal for the longevity program is to also address pin-to-pin compatibility with other parts of our portfolio. So basically, we will always offer the longevity part as a pin-to-pin compatible variant of existing product lines. So in this case, the BMI 090L is pin-to-pin compatible with its predecessors of the high-performance IMUs we have. So just to name a few, but this is obviously a non-exhaustive list, and this is always the case for all of our sensors. It's impossible to bring a fully exhaustive list, but anything from industrial IoT or industrial robots, drones is something we have been quite popular with, but there is definitely a different need and different performance requirement in a toy drone than in an industrial or drone for agriculture, and also in white goods and appliances in general. So typical use cases in this market could be navigation and control, motion detection, or motion and position tracking, or asset tracking in the large sense as well. So having introduced this part number, we will now show the first demo video of this product in action.
Please keep in mind, in this video, Florian will add some comments in between, so feel free to adjust the volume of the video in your media player to be able to hear the voice of Florian.
And just, one comment mostly from the chat. So it could be that by default, some peripherals are not the same for our voices and for the video. So please try to double check that the peripherals are set. Otherwise, you may have the sound coming through the speakers and not your headsets and so on. But everyone should have audio for both the videos and our voices over the presentation. So let's start with the video. So, as mentioned by Mark, our ideal goal would be to show you these demos in person, and we thought a nice idea to show the temperature stability and vibration stability of our part would be to show you the data from our IMU in this scenario. So we see over time some plots showing both gyroscope and accelerometer performance against vibration and temperature here while the mixer is running, and by estimating the orientation of the mixer over time, we see that our IMU is showing very good stability even against a competitor part on the same PCB. We will see in a few seconds also the accelerometer signal with our BMI 090L on the left side. And we see from the raw signal at the bottom and from the estimated orientation at the top that stability is significantly better than similar configuration for a competitor part in the market. In the plot you see now, the red line going up and down is actually temperature fluctuation. And here again, we see that and I can take a small pause here in the video, while the red line is increasing and decreasing, which is the temperature, our sensor on the left side is showing very stable outputs, while the competitor part is drifting more quickly. And this is due to this temperature change will create some offsets or behavior in the signal. This is seen here in the gyroscope, and in a few seconds you will see the same behavior on the accelerometer, and you will see that together with the temperature change, it creates a tilt offset in the competitor part. So if that was a live event and we would meet in person, you could probably benefit from one of these nice mousses as well. So we hope that we will be able to meet you very soon in the very near future as well. Okay, so moving on to the BMA 490L, this is the longevity accelerometer part number that we want to introduce today. So again, we target high performance. This accelerometer also high, very good stability over time and over temperature changes. It does not have a gyroscope. It's not an IMU packet. It's only an accelerometer. It also doesn't have this vibration robustness because we target different scenarios here for this part number. But of course, it also has the extended availability, dedicated interrupt features, and the very, very good performance. This is the best performing accelerometer in our portfolio today. Again, I will not dig into every specs here, but for this part number as well, the product page is available on our website, so you can find these technical data in the product flyer or on our website. And again, this accelerometer is pin-to-pin compatible with existing accelerometer in our current portfolio. So hardware can be reused, drivers need to be updated, but hardware-wise, we will try to keep this pin-to-pin and footprint compatibility between generations, if possible, and between product lines here. Markets are similar again. We see even more use for standalone accelerometer than gyroscope. This is especially from this motion or no motion detection or basic shock detection. Sometimes you don't need the gyroscope as much. That is more used for dynamic use case or real-time monitoring of the orientation. If you are focusing more on the more simple motion or shock detection to trigger events, trigger warning, trigger actuators in your systems or wireless messages, then an accelerometer is very popular. Otherwise, markets and targets are now almost infinite here. Finally, the last product of the longevity we are releasing right now is a barometric pressure sensor. Barometric pressure sensor means that we are measuring the atmospheric pressure. This is not gonna help you measure several bars, so this is really to measure the atmospheric pressure. And in the demo videos later on, you will also see some maybe unexpected usage for this. So I think the message now hopefully is clear, but this is an evolution of our of the previous generation available already, with even further improved performance against anything we had before. So this is the best performing barometric pressure sensor we ever had and we have in our portfolio right now. from temperature stability, short-term, long-term stability, noise. We have really significantly improved the performance of this product versus the BMP388 that would be the non-longevity barometric pressure sensor available today. Still, and this is again the case, pin-to-pin compatibility between our current generation BMP388 and this new longevity variant. Of course, performance is significantly improved. In that case, even software-wise, there is almost full compatibility. There is very, very few differences, like some chip ID, but otherwise the learning curve, if you have any experience with our existing generation, it should be a very, very smooth transition to the longevity part number for this pressure sensor. So we are very excited about the performance, part of the longevity program, and the compatibility with the previous generations here. Target markets are similar. This is common for all the longevity part. Here we see some different use cases or applications that are enabled for barometric pressure sensors. Of course, we are not directly sensing motion anymore, and maybe you are more familiar with barometric pressure sensors being used in some weather forecasts or weather monitoring, but there are in fact many, many more use cases, even for barometric pressure sensors that you may not be aware of or familiar with. And we will have in a few slides a video about water level detection using barometric pressure sensing, but barometric pressure is also used in many wearable devices, for example, to improve navigation and altitude estimation. This also help with better tracking. So this is also true for asset tracking. But there are also even applications up to airflow or clogging detection that are possible with some clever design and a barometric pressure sensor, unlike a differential or different technologies. So first demo video here for the barometric pressure sensor. Yep.
Okay, let's move on with the next video, and it's time to meet Sean again. This time it's the mini Lego version of Sean. We'll see him in a few minutes, a few seconds. And again, I will be saying a few words to this video, so please adjust the volume in your media player window. So here's our Lego warehouse, and we will show you the performance of our pressure sensor. And here is Sean again and his lovely girlfriend. Sean has the wonderful idea to surprise her, and we will use this unique chance to see what may happen in a warehouse and tracking the goods and how the resolution of our pressure sensor can be beneficial in determining the level of a pallet in the warehouse, for example. So Sean decides for one of these two things. It's going to be the dress. And now let's move on to the warehouse and see what happens there. Here the warehouse again, the levels are about 25 centimeters on top of each other. And as mentioned, the high resolution of our pressure sensor enables the tracking of the goods. Every pallet is equipped with one of our BMP390L pressure sensors. And this will now help us to determine the level in the warehouse. You can see now level 1 is ground floor. The pallet is moved to level 3. The sensor sees that right away and stores the data. Now the pick and place team can find this dress after Sean has placed the order. Goods can be located and removed to the truck for the transport. Here, actually another application may start. Now you can have the pressure sensor data available, plus you could, for example, add an accelerometer to determine which forces have the goods been obliged to. So in terms of asset tracking and quality monitoring. In the meantime, Sean gets his confirmation and we should see the parts be shipped and delivered. And here's our happy end. Okay, as Florian mentioned, we have another video following right away, showing an example to measure the water level, for example, in a washing machine using a barometric pressure sensor. And I will also now give the word back to Florian to walk you through the last video of the day.
So this is probably one of the least expected if we introduce barometric pressure sensor use cases today. And I hope that you can read most of the text, but I will try to pause and walk you through the use case. So on the right, we have a miniaturized washing machine with actual water, or an actual water tank and drum. And you can see hopefully on the right side that there is water in there at the moment. And the goal will be to replace existing, not so precise and challenging water level detection system and show that this barometric pressure sensor performs well enough to do these tasks, do it probably even better and more precisely. So on the left side, what you see is the output from a small demonstrator showing the estimated altitude from a BMP390L, and on the right side you see the live water level in the washing machine. So as water is filling the drum, or here in this case, as we're emptying the drum from the water, we can see that from the pressure sensor data, we can very nicely and in real time track and monitor the water level. In the current picture, we can see how this is achieved. Oh, I was hoping. So we can see how this is achieved. So how can we estimate the water level from barometric pressure sensor? This is achieved with a closed system, basically a pipe that is going from the bottom of the tank all the way to this closed air system with the small electronics board and this BMP390L pressure sensor at the top. As the water fills the water tank of the drum, the pressure or the water level equalizes in the tube in this closed system, and this causes the ambient atmospheric pressure in the end to increase. And if you know your system, it is possible with a mathematical formula to translate the ambient barometric pressure into a water level. And this is how this whole system works. So applications like this based on barometric pressure is possible thanks to the performance of our pressure sensors, and especially with the very high performance of our latest BMP390L. And of course, we can you can probably guess the real benefits for the application, being able to monitor and track precisely water in here in particular, it's a washing machine. You can imagine that you will not waste water, and this is both better for the environment by saving water. This is better for the consumer as he will pay less bills, and you can imagine further application where only the required water levels are used. There is no wasted energy from running too long, etc. So these are really advanced and real end user benefits thanks to these sensors.
Okay, thank you, Florian. This was already our last video and last slides, and now we finished in time and have enough space to answer your questions.
So thanks, Mark and Florian, so far. Good presentation. I hope that there haven't been any technical issues on the participant side. So now it's time to ask your questions. As I said initially, either using the question and answer function in WebEx by clicking on the three dots in the bottom menu line and then select host and presenters, the addressee. If there is no question in the next, let's say 30 seconds, I will probably unmute all the micros so that you have the chance to ask your questions verbally. And if there is also no question verbally, then I think we are fine. And we then also could close the session. So I will be somehow patient now for the next 25 seconds, waiting for any question. And then I will open the microphones. So the question from my side, where can I get these parts? I can also reply that on my own, for sure, via Rutronik. So you can go to our web shop, rutronik24.com, and then you can have a look for the presented products. You can directly order them, getting informations about lead time and pricing whenever you consider to add this product in your future applications, and then we are hopefully delivering these products to your next applications. So I think now I talked enough to have the first question in here. Florian, Mark, you can reply to that question by marking it and then send the press button. What I learned is that your answer can be seen by all participants. So this just as a background information.
We don't see a question, Markus, in our window, so maybe you have it neither in the chat nor in the question.
Okay. So the question is, can I measure fuel level like diesel in car with BMP 390L?
So there would be follow-up questions. I would say in general, measuring different kinds of fluid is possible. You also have to consider different aspects. Some fluids may be corrosive either to the sensor or to different electrical components. So assuming the system is designed to protect both the sensor and the electronics, measuring any fluids would be possible with the same principle. And then I would follow up by saying that we are focusing consumer electronics and industrial markets, but our sensors are not meant to be built inside, for example, car. So maybe I misunderstood the use case, but if it's a tank and you want to estimate the volume of your liquid, like diesel, it is possible with the appropriate precautions, yes.
Okay, hopefully this question was, or the answer was good enough for the question. There is another question for the BMI 090L IMU. You have shown orientation FIFO. I have checked the data sheet, but I have not seen the FIFO. Could you please clarify?
FIFO should be available, and so we didn't mention it today, but for these different sensors, there should be a driver. So we host, we call them sensor API. These are generic drivers, so C-code drivers on our GitHub page. So you should also find the link to these drivers on the product website. But FIFO is indeed available, and there is so in the IMU, it's a 2-in-1 package with an axle and a gyro. And in this case, there is a dedicated FIFO per sensor. But if it is not available or not listed yet, then we will make this relevant documentation available. But it is definitely there and available.
I saw now the questions myself. I had the wrong window open, Markus. I see there's the question, can I see the presentation later? We did not do a recording of this session, but of course, if you request the slides, this is public information, nothing is under NDA. Please let Markus or your local Rutronik contact know, and we will share the presentation. What we can also do is the videos are not available public, but we can share the hidden link on YouTube as part of the slide, so you can also look at the video when you want to look at the presentation later. And again, if you have questions that go beyond what you see in the presentation, if you need further material, there's a lot on the homepage. And of course, we are also here, and the Rutronik team is there to support you with questions. Was another question, how do you ensure the longevity of the devices? Well, basically, as you see in the very first slides, the MEMS parts are designed in-house Bosch and also produced in-house Bosch. So we are owner of the technology, of the complete process. There is, let's say, most of the sensors consist of a MEMS element or 2 MEMS elements, as in an IMU case, plus what we say a small ASIC, which then takes care of the interfacing and the signal processing in general. These are standard ICs that we manufacture at big partners like TSMC, for example. What we do is guarantee this longevity after introduction to the market. Of course, there may be the case that one part has to leave earlier, but then we also ensure, and that's part of the data sheet, that we will offer a drop-in replacement of this longevity part. Again, what I would like to stress here, because we are coming from the consumer world, does not mean that we kill our products after a certain period of time. There is no defined life cycle, and you can see products. Just to give you an example, the BMI 160, which is one of our standard IMUs, is sold since around 7 years and still running like in 3-digit million numbers every year. So it really also depends on the success of a product. But with the longevity, we guarantee the availability of this part or the drop-in replacement part after the release to market. Of course, this is related to some costs because we also have to hold stock. We also have to do everything that is needed in the background. So you will see a slight price adder to a standard part, but also please here keep in mind that we always offer the most high-performing part of the product section as a longevity variant. One side comment as well, as part of our NPI process, and all these parts are more or less brand new or will be released now or in the next few days. Rutronik has or will receive samples of all the today introduced parts to enable a free sampling to the customers or to you as a customer. Did I miss a question, Markus?
Not that I would see. So I think we replied to all the questions and also to the chat questions. Now, probably if you don't see any further, oh, there's another one. Hello, one question, why we have seen a continuous drift of signal over several temperature cycles at competitive IMU sensor. How you can explain this effect? You see the question, Florian?
Okay, I'm reading it now again. Okay, so I think there are two main effects that can be expected here. One thing is continuous drift. I mean, no sensor is perfect, and the better the sensor, the least you will see a drift, or the least important, least significant will be this drift over time. Then there is the effect of temperature itself. Temperature will generally lead to an offset in your signal. And if you use this signal over time, for example, gyroscope in a sensor fusion algorithm will be integrated over time. And the larger this offset due to temperature is, the quicker or the more importantly will your resulting orientation of signal drift. So This is actually the two effects that are seen here. One is the overall stability of one part versus the other, and the other one is the stability against temperature change. So both being stable over time and different temperature conditions are why we are showing better performance here.
Okay, thank you. So, no further question, at least I can see.
There's also, just maybe a side comment, there's also additional material that basically also gives more details on the hardware damping that we do and why the signals are better compared to a to a competitor part. So this is also something we can share if there's more data needed after the presentation.
Okay, Florian, customer is satisfied with your answer. At least he confirmed it. So I will now shortly unmute everybody just to give you the chance that you can ask your question verbally if you prefer that. If not, if there's no further question coming in verbally or in written through the Q&A possibility, then I think we will close the session in a couple of minutes. So I will open now all the micros. Any further to we believe. It's like and look at the ground, so that's also fine for me. We don't need to put the session. There's no further question. Really want to join and also to the presenters of today, to Marc and Florian, who did a great job to introduce this nice longevity program. So this is definitely, from my perspective, being responsible for the sensors within Rutronik. This is closing a gap we had in the past. And having this long-term availability will definitely open new chances on the manufacturer side, but also helping to solve challenges on customer side, because this is definitely what we had in the past. Missing this longevity will kill a lot of projects, but now this issue is solved. It was recognized by Bosch, and they did a great job to solve this issue. And hopefully, one or the other customer can use the products and design new products or new applications with that products. So thanks again. I think we're done. I wish you a nice rest of the day. Enjoy the sun, at least when it's available on your site. And hopefully we can keep in touch for interesting projects, which you hopefully will generate in the near future together with Rutronik and with Bosch Sensortec. Thanks and goodbye.